Sagittarius ascendants. So the words for Sagittarius ascendants are happy-go-lucky, awkward philosophers. Why is it so? So first of all, Sagittarius is the ninth house of the natural zodiac. So here, the ninth house, which represents long journeys, fortune, father, education, spirituality, that house is coming to the first house. So all these characteristics are coming to the first house. Secondly, the sun, which represents the soul, is both the lord of the ninth house and the significator of the ninth house in a Sagittarius ascendant. And sun is friendly to Jupiter. So that also makes the ninth house characteristics more predominant, and the philosophical and fortune part becomes more prominent in Sagittarians. Also, if you note that Jupiter is the lord of fourth house, which denotes happiness. This implies that Sagittarians can derive happiness from spiritual pursuits. Sagittarius is also is a lucky lagna because the sun rules the ninth house of good fortune, and the lagna lord Jupiter is exalted in the eighth house. So the lord Jupiter's exaltation in eighth house diminishes the bad effect of the eighth house. Eighth house represents obstacles, and it's basically negation of the ninth house. So the bad effects of eighth house are significantly diminished. Another reason why Sagittarians are fortunate is that the sun and the mercury are always together. So that means that there is a conjunction of the ninth house lord and the 10th house lord is very common in this chart, and which creates a Raj Yoga. So they are most of the times blessed with a inherent Raj Yoga. Coming to the other characteristics, Sagittarians are blunt and they are socially awkward. So if you observe that Saturn rules the second house of speech and the third house of expression. Saturn, which is a justice giver and also brings in hardship, is ruling speech. So their speech actually tend to be blunt and often mistimed. Similarly, with expressions, the third house, which is the house of expression, what they're trying to express is also mistimed, blunt, and can cause awkward situations. Also, if you note that Jupiter is debilitated in the second house of speech, so that also reduces the benefit that they can get from a speech or the things they say. Further, Venus is an enemy to Jupiter, and Venus rules the sixth house of arguments and 11th house of social network. So, among the society within a social group, Jupiterian this Jupiterian sign of Sagittarius, they will have difficulty in aligning with them, making things, saying things, or doing stuff which can be awkward or uh, not pleasant. Now, since Jupiter is in itself a positive planet, so these awkward situations are not negative in the sense that it can cause bad things. It just makes things untimely, uh, not very appropriate, but it won't make situation ugly. And that is why they tend to prevail over enemies because Jupiter has no enemies. So if you look into the friend and enemies chart, Jupiter is the only planet that has no enemies. So this sign, fortunately, despite its bluntness and awkwardness, they don't make too many enemies or they don't create long-term animosity with people. This ascendant, Sagittarian ascendant, also has an inherent issue with financial things, and their work is also what can be best called as helter skelter. It's all over the place, unfocused, and uh, not very properly managed. Why is it so? So the enemy Mercury is an enemy to Jupiter, is exalted in the karma house, that is a 10th house. Hence, they start a project helter skelter. The career house is occupied by an enemy sign, so the career part becomes completely disorganized. It's all over the place. There are too many things happening which is not controlled. They also go through financial woes because Saturn rules the second house and Venus rules the 11th house. So second house is the house of uh, uh, your savings, your assets, fixed assets and savings, and 11th is the house of gains, and both are ruled by planets which are not favorable or friendly with Jupiter. So this Jupiterian sign is a very ambitious sign. So they tend to make random but ambitious aims, but fail most often. Also, they have a lot of impatience and they are very aggressive in executing any project. They do not wait to perfect their skills or work, uh, which is actually a typical thing of a Saturn. This is completely missing in the Jupiter sign. Now let's take the case study of Novak Djokovic, also known as the Joker. So Novak Djokovic is a Sagittarius ascendant, and apart from being the one of the all-time greatest players, he is also known for his comedic impressions of fellow contemporary tennis players. Now, if you look at Djokovic, he spoke of his belief that some people used prayer and gratitude to turn the most toxic food or maybe most polluted water into the most healing water. So you can see there is a inherent bent towards spirituality. So basically, he's saying that through prayer and gratitude, you can remove the toxicity from food, which is not really accepted by scientific community, but still being coming from a educated Western society from that environment, he still has this belief system. Further, if you see that Djokovic has 80% stake in a biotech firm called Quant Bioris, which claims to be developing a drug to treat patients who have contracted COVID 19. Now, this is okay, but how they're doing it, that is interesting. The research is based on uh, electromagnetic frequency. One biomedical scientist likened it to homeopathy and argued that it does not reflect the contemporary understanding of biochemistry works. So basically, he is actually not saying it, he's actually investing money into companies which are going into paranormal or maybe metaphysics kind of an area to solve some problems, and he has a firm belief on that. So the characteristics of being a happy-go-lucky and even kind of to the level of doing comedy, having fun in the play area, which is a serious game, and having a spiritual background. These are the characteristics that are seen in Djokovic in his works. The next The next personality we have is Bob Dylan. So Bob Dylan is an American singer songwriter, and he is considered to be one of the greatest songwriters in the history. What he said that I knew that when I got into folk music, it was more of a serious type of thing. The songs are filled with more despair, more sadness, more triumph, more faith in the supernatural, much deeper feelings. So uh, again, the inclination towards supernatural, the inclination towards spirituality is appearing here. Here's the thing with me and the religious thing. This is the flat out truth. I find the religiosity and philosophy in the music. So years ago, they said that I was a prophet. I used to say, no, I'm not a prophet. They say, yes, you are your prophet. I said, no, it's not me. They used to say, you sure are a prophet. They used to convince me I was a prophet. Now I come out and say, Jesus Christ is the answer. They say, Bob Dylan's no prophet. They just can't handle it. So there was a time he was so much into spirituality and communicating those spiritual messages through his songs that people started believing that he is a prophet. He's just making sarcasm or kind of irony that now he is convinced about his belief of knowing those answers. He's now saying that's so ironical that people are not really believing him when he is believing himself. So but you see the spiritual sign of ninth house coming to the first house. This is the bent that gives to personalities when you are looking into the case studies.